Hey, welcome back to Postal BBQ. I'm Javen Postal, and today at the grill we're making some sticky and delicious pork belly burnt ends, and they're absolutely incredible. And just like always, I'm going to put all the show notes for you in the description box below, so make sure to click down there to see everything that you need for this recipe. Also, if you like what we're doing on this channel, consider subscribing for more great barbecue recipes, tutorials, and reviews. And other than that, let's get into the cook. So today we're going to be cooking pork belly, and you know, one of the things I love to do is grab a big cut of meat just like this and break it down into sections that are usable. So we're cooking, you know, with one cut of meat, but with multiple different recipe options for that piece of meat. So with this 10-pound pork belly, I've decided to cut it into two different sections. The first section, I'm going to be making some homemade bacon, and the second section, I'm going to be making some delicious pork belly burnt ends. And I'm going to put both of the links to those videos in the description box below so you can check them out for yourself. Okay, so I took that 10-pound slab of pork belly and I sliced it in half, and then I trimmed up some of the unwanted pieces. You'll notice on this one there was a huge chunk of fat that was running along the side with no meat in it at all, and so I sliced that off. And then I trimmed off some of the little bits that were on it that were just gonna fall off anyways. And so I'm gonna just toss it down below, and I'll use those up for something else. All right, so now that we have our pork belly trimmed up, this is about 3.5, maybe 4 pounds total weight. We're gonna take a knife, and we're gonna begin to slice it into our cubes. And we're looking for about 1.5 to 2 inch size cubes. They might seem a little bit big, but you know, they're gonna shrink down a little bit to become those perfect 2-bite pork belly burnt end pieces. And we'll cut them sideways as well. Go. So you can see that when they're cubed up this way, they're a nice size. They have a nice meat to fat ratio. These are going to be great. And so let's go ahead and prepare them with our rub. And so the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to be using a little bit of Ammo Box hot sauce, just as a little bit of a binder to add a little bit of a kick to these before we put on some of that sweet rub. You know, if you don't want to use hot sauce, just go ahead and use a little bit of olive oil. But this is going to make them taste really nice and help balance that sweetness that's going to come later on. Next, I'm going to take some of my Postal barbecue rub, and I'm going to give a nice generous coating to the outside of these pieces. And for those of you who are interested on where to pick this up, I'll put a link to my rub as well as the Ammo Box hot sauce in the description box below to help you out. We'll turn those over and we'll place our rub onto the other side as well. And so this rub is a little bit of a sweeter rub, and so if you don't have this one, go ahead and use your favorite barbecue rub. There's so many out there. All right, there we go. And so the last thing I'm gonna do before we get it onto the grill is I'm gonna place these burnt end pieces onto this cooking rack just to help make it easier to transport on and off the grill. All right, so with these pork belly pieces cut up, seasoned, and ready to go, let's go ahead and get the Weber Kettle set up for cooking around 225 degrees. So to set up our grill today, I placed in about 20 briquettes into the corner of the Sloan Sear, and I got them fully lit using my grill gun. Once they're fully lit, I filled up the remainder of the Sloan Sear with unlit briquettes. I added about 16 ounces of hot water to the water reservoir. Then I added in a few chunks of maple wood just to add a little bit of that smoky flavor that we're looking for. And then I closed the lid and let it come up to temperature. All right, so our grill is all set up for cooking around 225 degrees. So let's go ahead and get this pork belly onto the grill. All right, so with everything on our grill, let's close the lid and we're gonna begin cooking this for a couple hours or until the outside of this pork belly has a nice bark. We're about 2.5 hours into this cook, and our temperature has been steady around 225 degrees. And guys, the smell and the aroma that's back here coming out of this grill is absolutely great. So let's open up the grill and take a look. Oh, look at that. You can see that it's picked up some nice color from that maple wood, and the bark is set up quite nicely. And so let's go ahead now and remove it from the grill to get ready for a braise. So before I get it into our saucepan, I want to just show you the internal temperature of one of these cubes here. We're reading close to 180 degrees. And so if we were to pull these off right now without braising them, they would still be tough and not tender and bite through, which is what we're really looking for. And so let's go ahead now and get all of these into our pan. All right, so with our pork cubes in our dish, let's go ahead and add in a 1/4 cup of butter to this. Get all those pieces out. And then we're gonna add in about a cup or so of barbecue sauce, and just use whatever is your preferred style. This is just a simple Sweet Baby Ray's original. And then the next thing I'm gonna add in, because I am using some Sweet Baby Ray's, is I always like to add in a little bit of apple cider vinegar to this. And I'm gonna add in about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, just because I like that little bit of vinegar kick to that sauce. So once it's in there, just mix it all around. We wanna get that sauce and that butter mixing all around these burnt ends. All right, that looks pretty good. So let's cover it with some foil. So with it covered nice and tight, let's go ahead and get it back on the grill. With them back on the grill, let's close the lid, and we're gonna continue cooking these around 250 degrees for about an hour to an hour and a half until they're probe tender. So our pork belly burnt ends have been in the grill for about an hour and a half now, and so let's open up the grill and just see how tender they've become. Guys, these smell absolutely amazing, but let's just probe them to see how tender they are. And I can feel there's a little bit of resistance still in the center, right where the meat is. So I'm gonna put our foil back on, and I'm gonna close the lid, and we'll let this go for another 15 to 20 minutes until they're good and ready. So I let our pork belly burnt ends cook for another 10-15 minutes, and our total cooking time up to this point is just under 5 hours. And so let's open up the grill and take a peek to see if they're finally done. Oh man, these are good and tender. As expected, that extra little bit of time was just enough to get them to the tenderness that we want. And so now I'm gonna just toss them back in their juices. And then I'm gonna close the lid, and I'm gonna let that sauce cook for another 5 to 10 minutes just to allow it to set up nicely before we pull it out to get ready for the taste test. So our pork belly burnt ends are all done. They took about 5 hours total time, and guys, they smell phenomenal. They look incredible, and there's only one thing left to do, is go for the taste test. Here we go. Oh man. As expected, these are just melt in your mouth tender. They've got incredible flavor. You can taste a little bit of that spice from the ammo box, then that sweetness comes through without being overpowering. You still get that smokiness and that richness from the fat. Guys, I'm telling you, these are to die for. They melt in your mouth. They're absolutely insane. Man, these are tasty. They're tender, sticky, and just melt in your mouth. Guys, these pork belly burnt ends are to die for. Hey, if you want to see more barbecue videos just like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell, and we'll see you next time.